Welcome to my tour. This is my 2019 4x4 144 wheelbase black on black Sprinter. We're gonna break it down into a couple parts. I'm gonna do a tour of the exterior, cover the roof as well. Then we'll come in, we'll take care of the cab. I'll show you the salon galley area. We'll move into the bed. At the very end, I'll show you the garage, and then I'm gonna do a time lapse of me loading it back up. I hope you enjoy the tour, and more importantly, I hope you actually buy the van. First off, the van is a 2019 passenger van. I'll get into more of the details on that in a minute, but we're gonna start with the exterior. 275/70 17 wheels. Tires and wheels and suspension were all done by Agile. It also has, just for the aesthetic, I wanted the wheels to pop out, to be in line, to bump out and meet the fenders. Without the wheel spacers, it wasn't working, so I put, I think it's like a 15 or 5, some sort of wheel spacer from Agile in between the wheels so that it'll bump it out and make it look right. It's also got fiberglass custom body pack matched painted fender expanders. That way when you're turning, you don't clip the wheel well. You have to do it if you want to get the big tires. Running boards are from Vannon. Vannon's a company located in Encinitas. I met him because I live in Encinitas, and I really like the aesthetic and the style that he went with, so I chose to use all of his stuff. I purchased all the product, did the installation myself. We've also got the roof rack from Vannon. It's a 2-part system. It's kind of cool because it covers up the air conditioner. Otherwise, that thing kind of hangs out, but with the rack, it covers it up and tucks it in there pretty nicely. This is the Vannon rear step bumper. It's got like some sort of grip tape, sticky stuff on here. It looks pretty flat and straight, but it's not. It's actually convexed like this, and it's tucked up in the corners to match the actual frame of the car, which is amazing. Also, a Vannon roof rack ladder. This thing is exceptional. This is how you get up to the roof and service everything. So let's get on the roof. I'm gonna show you what's up here. What you're not gonna see is solar. The reason I don't have solar up here is because when I was doing the build, I talked to my full-time van guys, and they're like, honestly, your alternator charger is about 20 times more powerful than any solar panel configuration. And so I wanted this storage up here for surfboards, snowboards. When you're actually camping, I put like beach chairs up here, umbrellas, things that you want to have but you're not going to use every day, I put up here, which wouldn't have been possible if I had solar panels. I've had 6 or 7 surfboards up here, like long foamies, as well as, you know, a load of snowboards, all kinds of stuff. You'd be shocked at what you can strap down on the roof up here. This thing right here is the overhead factory air conditioner, which is absolutely mandatory when you have an all blacked out van. It gets hot as hell in there without this thing. So that's pretty much the roof. It all came with the factory running rails, and then these just mount right on there. If you wanted to take the rack off, you can get it off of here in about 15 minutes. It breaks down into pieces. So that's the roof. Okay, so it's a 2019 passenger vehicle, which is by far the most expensive factory vehicle that you can buy from Mercedes for a Sprinter. The reason I chose that is because there's a few small upgrades. Painted bezel that goes around and a different grille. The cargo vans give you a cheesy look. They don't give you any chrome. It just kind of looks lame, in my opinion. One of the other benefits is this. The aluminum slider rail on a cargo, crew, anything but the passenger is going to be silver. I don't know if you can get this off the body, but you'd have to anodize it and paint it. This comes black from the factory. If you're gonna have a $140,000 black vehicle and have a silver stripe down the side, for me, that was a hard no. So that's why I got the passenger van, because all the fit and finish is all tucked away. This is meant to be like, you know, an airport carrier to like a mountain ski resort in Germany. So they wanted everything to look just right. It's got windows all around, everywhere. Double limo, so it's got the factory tint, which is limo, and then I went over it again with 6%, so it's like 3% in and out. Same with the front, I think this is 30. And then on the front window, if you come over here, if you look through, you can kind of see into the van, but not really. That's because all the windows are tinted. Some of them are blacked out with curtains in the back, but this has an $800 sheet of Crystalyn tint on the front windshield. And the reason why, I didn't do it at first, but then when you have that much sun penetrating on the dash, it just heats up the van. It was ridiculous. So I finally just said, screw it, and went for the super expensive tint on the front window. So it's got that. It's about $1,500 in tint for the whole job. One thing you want to know about the passenger van, and this model in particular, it has every single feature that Mercedes offered in 2019 with the exception of two things. One is the power door, and two is the power step. The power door I read about, and it just breaks and causes problems. I didn't want to deal with it. And the power step looks absolutely terrible, so I didn't want either of those features. But otherwise, it has every single thing. So if you're like, does it have it? Yes, it does. Four-way cameras, it's got the front camera, it's got a camera up there, it has a camera here, and then a camera in the back, which is cool. So say like you're stealth camping and you want to see what's going on, you can hit the dash, and it'll show you a 360 view of everything that's going on around the camera. So you pretty much have like a home security system sort of built into the van, which is really cool. Let's go inside and I'll show you the rest of it. So as I said, the vehicle has every single feature. It has the mbux system. This thing is amazing. If you're gonna get a Sprinter, honestly, just spend the extra $5 grand or whatever it is for this. Got a dash here, a screen here, and then the main dash here. You can pretty much do everything that you ever wanted to do with the van. It's got the owner's manual in here. You can do your own research on YouTube about that. I have a lot of friends with Sprinters, and if you don't get the passenger van and you get the crew or the cargo, you only get speakers from the partition forward. So you've got no sound in the back. In the passenger van, there's like 15 speakers in the rear, which make a huge difference. And I made cutouts for most of them in my cabinets so that the sound can resonate in the cabinet, project outwards. It increases the bass. It sounds really good. This little thing right here is called a pedal box. What it does is it goes in between the fly-by-wire and the actual pedal, and it intercepts the signal, changes the way the transmission shifts and the way the pedal responds. These are commercial vehicles. They drive like tanks. At first I didn't have this thing, and I was at Agile off-road, saw it, and I was like, just give it to me because this thing drives like a bulldozer. And it dramatically improves the way the vehicle runs. It's a must-have. Also, here's your switches for four-wheel drive. It has the four-wheel low option. It has the four-wheel high. I've used four-wheel drive quite a bit in the snow. It works amazing. It's shocking what this thing can actually go through in four-wheel drive as far as snow, sand, dirt. It's pretty outstanding. It's got heated seats, memory-controlled seat adjusters. It's got pretty much everything. So the mileage on the vehicle is 21,647 miles. Likely by the time you purchase this thing, it will probably still have a relatively close to that mileage, most likely under 22,000 miles. Service A was just completed while I was on a road trip. I think I had it done in Seattle. So fresh oil, whatever they do there, it's all been completed. So right here is a feature that most of the vehicles don't have, but like I said, it's got everything. It has a Webasto diesel heater that's designed to heat up the engine block on programming time. So like, say you're in the mountains and you can set it to go off at 6 in the morning. So what it will do is fire up the diesel heater, it'll heat up the coolant, it'll also heat up the second exchanger over here, so you'll get hot air in the cabin, and you'll also heat up the engine. In addition, while you're running in like say -10, there isn't enough heat to go around, so it runs the Webasto to supplement the engine so that you can then have hot air in the cab. I also have an S-Bar diesel heater in there, so sometimes I'll run them in conjunction. One other thing I forgot to mention, it does have adaptive cruise control, which is key. Like I said, this thing can run like a tank sometimes. It's not exactly the coolest vehicle to drive as far as comfort, but the adaptive cruise control makes it so much better. You basically just hit a couple buttons, set it, and then it'll stop, and it'll go all the way to a complete stop at a red light and then take off again. So that's a really cool feature, especially on a large vehicle like this. It helps tremendously. So no van is complete without privacy, and Marcus from Vannon, the guy who owns and designs all the products that you've seen on the van, he recommended this company. It's called Explorer Outfitters. These things have some sort of heat-resistant material in them. They have magnets everywhere. They're freaking amazing. Like, they're the best. Shockingly expensive, but worth every penny. So that's the front curtain. This keeps people from seeing in at night. The tint takes care of everything else. Basically, everything that's not a personal item will go with the van. Anything that's useful for camping or whatever I've gathered, you can have it all. The other feature is the swivel seats, which are key for hanging out. So obviously all power seats, which is kind of cool. This will do everything. I've programmed the seats to keep the memory of where they're supposed to be, each setting. Bingo, and then, so, in some vans, like say the Revel, you've got no room. There's literally nothing. There's a whole cabinet over here, like there's no seating. You basically get a tiny little bench, something over here, and then you get 2 swivels. So like, your knees are literally like this, touching each other. It's annoying. I didn't want that. I wanted more of a salon galley area, so I gave more space. So this is pretty much what it's like when you're just hanging out, which gives you plenty of room for all activities, including dancing right there. While we're here, let me show you the diesel heater. So this is the output. That's where the burner actually shoots out the hot air, and then the unit itself is under here. So I mentioned that the vehicle came from the factory with a Webasto engine coolant heater. It also has an S-bar air heater underneath the passenger seat. I keep another water pump back in there just as a spare in case if your water pump goes down, you're really screwed. All right, so I guess we're gonna cover everything from the divider partition right here through the galley. First was the flooring. So the original factory floor had all the running rails for all the seats. There was originally 4 rows of seats. This bench here was right here, and then there was 3 more behind it. So obviously I took all those out, took the factory floor out, and created a new floor with new flooring. The floor that you're seeing here is similar to what you find in like an aircraft. They make it in all different types of patterns, but a lot of builders use it. It's literally invincible. It's called lawn seal. Spectacular stuff. You couldn't beat this stuff up if you tried. So it's on the floor. It's also on all the cabinet faces. So like say you're jamming a mountain bike in here and you're driving and it's grinding on the cabinet for a whole trip, it's never gonna make a difference. This stuff is incredibly expensive, but also extremely durable. So I decided to put it everywhere. I kind of went with a black theme, obviously, and it fits pretty well. We've also got one of the coolest features here is going to be the drawer type Dometic 12-volt refrigerator. This thing is badass. I love it. I usually will keep like drinks and like things that I want to have on the fly, snacks in there. And then I also have a DZ95 in the back that can hold anything you need. So as far as refrigeration and cooking, that's the move.